So the Mario RPGs have had a complicated history. It had a golden age of incredible games from the mid-90s to the late 2000s, then a period of time where things were really inconsistent and got off track with Sticker Star, but Alpha Dream still put out bangers like Dream Team or the Mario & Luigi remakes. Then Alpha Dream went bankrupt, and things became very uncertain. Paper Mario was still in a weird spot, but I would say it was slightly improving with Origami King. But it was missing some of the charm, like the engaging battle system and original characters of the older games. At least the Mario plus Rabbids games are still a thing, but I don't think they really scratched that itch fully for the Mario RPGs. But now, I feel like the future is a lot brighter for the Mario RPGs, since we got excellent remakes of both Super Mario RPG and Thousand Year Door, as well as an excellent new Mario & Luigi game developed by a new studio, with some of the former Alpha Dream devs assisting. So, it seems like everything is going well for the Mario RPGs, so it almost seems like there wouldn't be too much to be concerned about, but weirdly, it seems like Nintendo isn't fully acknowledging the Mario RPGs. They don't really do much with the Mario RPGs besides releasing the games themselves, and it's pretty unfortunate. But joining me today is Fawful the Great, and we're going to be discussing how Nintendo can't really decide if they care about the Mario RPGs or not.
I originally had this feeling that the Mario RPGs could be coming into a new golden age all the way back when the Mario & Luigi remakes first came out. In fact, I remember when the Superstar Saga remake came out and they said it had amiibo support, my first thought was like, oh my goodness, this is Fawful's chance to have an amiibo, and he's going to get into more games that way or something. But that ended up not really happening, and then the Mario RPGs kind of died again, in a way.
Yeah, for like a few years.
When Alpha Dream went bankrupt. And then we got the Mario RPG remake, and that was just crazy hype, to the point where I even wrote Nintendo a letter expressing how excited I was about that. And they responded to that letter, like, literally, like, days before the Thousand Year Door remake was announced, so I imagine it had to have been pretty difficult for the employee who was responding to keep their lips sealed about that. But, when that was announced, it was like, oh my god, we're actually so back. We're actually so back. And I was like, surely there's no way they can still avoid, like, any trace of the RPGs in anything else Mario related at all. Like, it's always felt weird that they did that, even in the 2000s, but, like, we did have little bits and pieces of things from the RPGs in the 2000s, like with Mario Party 5 having the Star Spirits, we had Goombas in Mario 64 DS,
as well as
and
Koopa
Mario
Trolls
Kart DS.
in Mario Pinball Land.
Yeah, and they made a cameo in Super Princess Peach too.
Yeah, it really seems like we're in, like, a really weird spot. Like, whenever they do acknowledge anything from the Mario RPGs, it's, like, minuscule. Like, in Mario Kart World, it was really cool seeing the Frost Piranhas from Paper Mario, and they retained their design and name. Because New Super Mario Bros. U, they technically were in the game, but they didn't have the same colors, and it was kind of up in the air whether they had the same name or not. But that was
Personally,
cool.
I kind of never saw those ones as the same, even though they did use that name once in, like, supplemental material, but I kind of feel like that was, like, you know, whatever employee was writing that was making the connection. I feel like it just feels... I don't think the devs were thinking about Paper Mario or thinking, hey, this thing existed in Paper Mario, let's use it. I feel like in New Soup, they were just kind of like, oh, we have fire piranhas, let's have an ice piranha.
Yeah, it seems like with the Mario RPGs, it seems like, just looking in general, their legacy isn't as respected as other Mario games. Like, looking at Mario Kart World soundtrack with all of the Mario games that have remixes, this was actually one of the inspirations for making this video. Like, a lot of its remixes are incredible, and they even pull from some obscure things too, or at least obscure for, like, a casual Mario fan. Like, they did Drifting Away from the original WarioWare. I thought that was really cool, as well as, like, this isn't really obscure, but, like, I think the remix of Sky and Sea from Super Mario Sunshine, like some of the secret levels have that theme. I thought that was a really good remix, in a lot of things that I didn't expect. But one glaring omission from that soundtrack was any remixes of the Mario RPGs, and it really, like, I don't really think it, like, would have hurt if they added at least, like, a dozen songs from the Mario RPGs. There were hundreds of songs across the history of Mario in the soundtrack, and I feel like the Mario RPGs definitely have a place in this franchise's history. Like, their legacy really should be respected a lot more than it already is, because it really seems like that omission kind of stung a little bit.
Yeah, basically, I feel as though, for some godforsaken reason, it feels as though, internally, Nintendo sees the Mario RPGs as a separate thing to the same degree that non-Mario games are. Like, even though they have the same emblem in Smash, which even, like Wario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, all have different emblems in Smash, the Mario RPGs have the mushroom emblem. But in terms of what they get used in, it feels like it's only ever Smash Bros. If it's anything, which is consistent with being treated like a different franchise.
You know, it's kind of funny that you mentioned Smash Bros. Because, like, obviously that was directed by Masahiro Sakurai, and when you look at his most recent game that I've been playing quite a lot and I'm kind of addicted to, Kirby Air Riders, that has representation from throughout the Kirby franchise, like even the games that Sakurai didn't work on. Like, obviously it has like the modern Kirby titles, but it also has full remixes of niche spin-offs like Kirby Mass Attack, which I think is really interesting. And some of the characters that show up that have like animations in like the road trip mode are from some of these obscure spin-offs that sold like I feel like even less than the Mario RPGs did, and are definitely just as like obscure, if not even more so, than the Mario RPGs, relatively compared to Mario. So I think it is pretty interesting how like Sakurai represents like different things from throughout like a franchise compared to how like the rest of Nintendo does with Mario.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Sakurai is more likely to dig deep with, like, Smash Bros. Just across the board references a lot of obscure things. But, like, it's just kind of crazy to me that if you just look at the Mario representation in Smash, which is a series that has all these other series that it has to represent. So basically, you would think that there would be less room for expansive Mario representation, but Smash Bros. Has the most comprehensive Mario representation, it beating every Mario spinoff.
Yeah.
And it feels as though the Nintendo seems to be concerned that Mario spinoffs are made for casual audiences, and they're afraid of alienating these casual audiences or something. But that doesn't really make any sense to me, because, like, just speaking from my personal experience, when I first played Mario Kart 64, which was my first Mario Kart game, I didn't know Donkey Kong or Wario. I barely had any familiarity with Bowser. And it's like, it didn't impact my enjoyment of the game at all. If anything, it made me like this universe more because I saw more of the characters that exist in it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Mario Kart DS. Like, when I unlocked Daisy, I had never seen Daisy before. When I unlocked Waluigi, I was like, whoa, this guy is so cool. It's like, I've always wondered if, like, there was a Luigi for Wario. This is so cool. Like, I had never seen this guy before, and I was first meeting him in a Mario Kart game. But it was like, and if you think about it, Waluigi was invented for Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
So, was that aimed at the same casual audiences? Because, going by that logic, they shouldn't have created Waluigi. They should have only used the characters that the casual audiences would already recognize.
Yeah. The same goes for Toadette as well. Since, like, Toadette was, like, a counterpart for Toad in Mario Kart Double Dash. So, it's like, so I think it would be weird for like Nintendo to like only assume that casual audiences are gonna play as the characters that they recognize. Like, when I was a kid, I'd like to try, like, new characters and things, and, like, characters that, like, I didn't know about before. Like, in Smash Bros. Like, in Brawl, I'd like to play as Meta Knight. I mean, obviously, because he was, like, super overpowered, but, like, I just thought his character looked really cool. I barely knew anything about Kirby at the time, other than Kirby himself, so I thought it was really cool seeing this really, like, cool-looking character from the Kirby franchise there, and, like, seeing, like, some of those characters from Smash Bros., like, kind of made me want to play a lot of these franchises that I haven't heard about previously, like either Kirby, Earthbound, F-Zero, like, and so many others as well. Like, I feel like Smash Bros. Is, like, kind of another example of having more, like, obscure or characters that casuals wouldn't necessarily know about, kind of leading to them learning about these characters and checking out their games, and also just trying out, like, new characters and kind of seeing more of, like, what these worlds can offer, what Nintendo can offer in terms of, like, characters and things.
You know what else Smash Bros. Did? It directly brought a character into the modern spotlight with Kid Icarus, which is Pit's modern design debuted in Brawl.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know whether Kid Icarus Uprising was like being planned when Brawl was being made, or if that wasn't until later. But Sakurai also made that. So like, but like before that, that character only existed as like old vintage art.
Yeah. And then another thing with, like, looking at the Mario franchise specifically, even with, like, Mario Kart World, it has a lot of crazy and interesting characters, and when you look at things like Pianta or Cataquack, like, I doubt a casual player or a child would know who those characters are. Ironically, I feel like the only way to know who Pianta is in, like, this day and age, if you're, like, if it's a kid playing modern Nintendo games, is from Thousand Year Door, honestly. So it's like, I feel like a lot of these characters that they added in Mario Kart World
Pianta, with, like, Pianta in particular, I do kind of feel like there's a chance that they're going to be recognized from previous Mario Kart games because they do appear in the audiences.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't know. And technically Cataquack has been like a stage hazard before.
Yeah.
But like it's been way longer since that. So like, I feel like modern audiences would still like, oh, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, if Mario Kart World is already going out of its way to add these crazy, like, WTF characters that, like, casual players, like, wouldn't really know about, like, those are, like, those are the most appealing characters in the roster. Like, I never play as, like Mario or Luigi. I always play as, like, Cataquack, Pianta, some of the other, I always play as the wacky characters. So I don't think, like, who's to say that Nintendo, like, won't look at the RPG characters in a similar way? Honestly, in my opinion, I think, like, the RPG characters would have a similar appeal, but even more people would be attached to them. So it's kind of weird that Nintendo is just stopping here and not going any farther, because I don't, like, if they're already adding wacky, kind of off-the-walls characters, I think they could go even farther, honestly, and I hope they do.
Yeah, like, and I don't even think it, like, this conversation only applies to RPG characters, it also applies to, like, the WarioWare cast and stuff. Like, I just, the way Nintendo kind of, and speaking of WarioWare, the first WarioWare, was that made by in-house Nintendo, or was that, like, separate? Because someone said it was made by in-house Nintendo.
I think it was in-house Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the one that they had music from. That's what someone was saying, was that all the music is from in-house Nintendo games, EPD or whatever.
Yeah.
And but what was unfortunate about this is that this person was kind of being like arguing in favor of this, like saying basically this is just the reality, this is just how it has to be. If it's not EPD, it might as well not exist. And that's such a stupid mindset.
Yeah, I would say like if Nintendo is thinking with that philosophy, I just think that's just really weird because like we wouldn't have like our like our representation of Donkey Kong that we've had over the years, even the most basic stuff from the Donkey Kong Country series, because that was developed by Rare. And then
Yeah.
with stuff like I'm trying to think of like other examples too, but like I mean yeah, like Funky Kong and like Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, we see them like even before Donkey Kong got like the major kind of reboot. Like all of that stuff was originally from Rare. And then in Mario Kart itself, obviously in most games we see Mario Kart World unfortunately didn't have any tracks from this game, but did have music from it. We see like a lot of representation of Super Circuit, yet that was developed by Intelligent Systems. So I just think it's a bit weird. It's kind of a double standard for Nintendo for them to pull from stuff that isn't developed in-house. But for anything after, like, the early 2000s, it's just, like, they mostly stick to, like, stuff developed in-house. It's just, like, a really weird double standard to me, I would say.
And a lot of people say that this is there must be some sort of legal thing that they're like they can't, they would need permission, it would be too hard, and I'm just like, even if there was something like that, like I don't think any of it would be at the level of, like, for example, what they would need to do to get the Super Mario RPG characters, which even that I feel like should be more on the table now that we have the remake.
Yeah.
But, like, that, there is a confirmed, rights thing going on with that, but I don't really think that, like, the characters that Intelligent Systems has made for their Mario games, or the characters, especially the ones that Alpha Dream made, because, Alpha Dream doesn't exist anymore, and these characters still clearly exist because they still get referenced in Brothership. So, like, what's the excuse here?
Yeah, and kind of going into, like, I kind of wanted to shift the discussion more into, like, the significance of the Mario RPGs and why they should be represented. Because, I mean, to someone who's, like, an outsider who doesn't really, like, have that much, like, knowledge of the extensive Mario franchise, it may seem like, oh, the Mario RPGs may be insignificant, or, like, why are they exactly worth representing? Because I'm not saying that as, like, oh, people are wrong for thinking that. I think that's kind of a thing, because I honestly, like, a decade ago, I was kind of in a similar mind frame, because I didn't really, like, the only Mario RPGs I've played are, like, a couple Mario and Luigi games and Super Paper Mario, so I wasn't, like, fully understanding that, but I think there are a lot of reasons for why the Mario RPG's legacy really deserves to be respected, because I feel like the Mario RPGs introduced a lot to the Mario world in terms of characters, locations, and scenarios. Like, there are so many things from the Mario RPGs that were kind of introduced to this franchise here, and it's some of the most interesting things. Like, I would say most of them are on the level of mainline Mario in terms of what they bring to the table, at least in terms of, like, aesthetics.
Yeah, and I'm not just aesthetics, like I would say just like world building and like character writing, like the depth they give to these characters is, I would argue, most of the time a level higher than what they usually do, with some exceptions. Like, you have characters in the mainline games who have really good writing, like Rosalina with her story from Mario Galaxy, for example. But most of the time, they keep things in the mainline games pretty simple. But I think that creates a very good little space that the RPG characters could fill so easily. They could be some of the most popular Mario characters if they were allowed to like be in things.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo really just needs to give them a chance, honestly, because it's like, you never really know how these characters will be in like spin-offs and other games before they actually add them in them.
And another thing is that I had not played Paper Mario 64 when I first played Super Mario 64 DS. And I didn't even have a single thought in my head that the Goomboss didn't fit or just felt out of place. He fit right in. I thought he was from this game. I thought he was just my thought was basically just, oh, you know, I never thought about that. We have a King Babam, and we have a King Womp. Where's the King Goomba? And here he is. And it's like,
yeah,
he fit perfectly. And when I saw him in Paper Mario, my first thought was kind of backwards. I second guessed myself and thought, wait, did this come out after Mario 64 DS?
yeah, yeah.
That was what my
yeah.
And I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's on the N64.
Yeah,
But,
and another example of how like characters from the Mario RPGs like fitting really well within the Mario world. Like recently, we've been seeing like a lot of characters get different outfits in games like Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart World had the costumes, Mario Kart Tour had them as well. And I feel like the characters in like I'll take Thousand Year Door as an example. We see a lot of regular Mario enemies with like a distinct design, with like outfits and things, almost kind of, not exactly, it's definitely a little more in depth, but it does kind of seem like it's on, to a casual player, it would be a similar idea to like a character wearing a costume. But then when they look into the characters a little more, they'd see, oh yeah, this is an interesting character with like a lot more depth. When they actually play the game or see like in Mario Kart itself that they would have more voice clips or unique animations and things like that. Like for characters like Goombella or the Yoshi Kid, Koops, or Admiral Bobbery, I think like they definitely would fit into the Mario world really well. Like looking at like the Yoshi Kid specifically, I feel like that would just make a lot of sense as like if they were to ever have a baby Yoshi as a playable character in Mario Kart, because I think that would read very well to a casual player as a baby Yoshi. Even though there is a regular generic baby Yoshi design, I feel like the Thousand Year Door design feels much more suited for Mario Kart. Because of how energetic it is, or just like also the fact that it could probably, its proportions are a little better for riding a cart, and it just like, it looks like it still looks like what you would expect for a baby Yoshi.
It would go incredibly hard if we got the fat baby Yoshi from Super Mario RPG.
Actually, we should get, okay, here's the thing, they have Yoshi Kid from Thousand Year Door as baby Yoshi in Mario Kart World, and they have the fat baby Yoshi as one of its alts. I know the alts are usually just different colors, but for just this one exception, they have the fat baby, the big Yoshi.
That would be so funny, because like I imagine TTYD's baby Yoshi would be a lightweight. So it would be really funny if we had that and it was a lightweight.
Yeah, or they actually treat costumes as separate characters in Mario Kart World. So maybe for
do they? I never noticed that.
Yeah, you know, in the well, not as not for weight classes, but in the menu when you select characters.
Oh,
yeah, I meant like that. So maybe like when you select the big Yoshi from like the character select, just that one is a heavyweight. But it would kind of be crazy, though, for like people who are more like really into Mario Kart when they get the food item and like baby Yoshi transforms into big Yoshi and you're suddenly a heavyweight.
I actually feel as though Big Yoshi might unironically be one of the ones that gets recognized by more people, because that meme has spread pretty far.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone watching this video knows who we're talking about too, even if I don't show an image. So Actually, I'll intentionally not show an image because just to get my point across. But
Yeah.
but also there are also like other things too. Like with the sales, you may think that the Mario RPGs don't sell very well compared to like mainline Mario, but in the grand scheme of things, they actually sell decently well compared to the gaming industry as a whole. They actually sell about as well as most mainline Sonic games and Kirby games. Like, that range of like 2 to 4 million is like actually normal for like most games in the industry. It's just that mainline Mario sells, and Mario Kart sells so well that like the RPGs kind of seem like they're really niche and small in comparison, when they're actually kind of reasonable in terms of like the gaming industry as a whole. So I really feel like
that actually makes me think of how that's an interesting point, because it makes me think that the Mario RPGs might actually be their amount of exposure might have actually been negatively impacted by the fact that they are tied to such a high profile franchise, because like they're tied to such a high profile franchise that they're considered below what that franchise represents.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of franchises have that problem with like spin-offs and things attached to them. Like, I would say
I can't stand that kind of thing.
Like, for Pokemon, for instance, it's like that series or franchise has like a similar kind of example to it with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I would say Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is kind of like the Mario RPG equivalent to Pokemon, because like it has a really dedicated fan base just like the Mario RPGs, and it sells decently well, though the remake did kind of underperform, unfortunately, but it still does have a dedicated community behind it, and I think the games did sell fairly well, like around the same amount as the Mario RPGs.
I've seen that used as an example a lot of like, when trying to make an argument that this is just normal for any franchise that has these spin-offs. This is just normal. The fact that that also doesn't get used, I've seen that used as an example to try to sell home the point that this is just a reality and we just have to accept it. Any franchise is like this. Yeah.
And that's really stupid, because like even though a lot of other franchises do it, that doesn't mean it's okay. Like, it's like
I feel as though I feel if I was a dedicated fan of that franchise, I would be pushing just as strongly for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there are like better examples of how like spin-offs are like handled in like certain franchises. Like Kirby, for example. Like I mentioned earlier with how Sakurai was like representing a lot of those like Kirby spin-offs that would almost be like the equivalent of like the Mario RPGs, like Kirby Mass Attack or Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, stuff like that, like stuff that doesn't really get acknowledged often. Those spin-offs usually get some kind of representation in every Kirby game that they're in. I mean, sure, we haven't seen like a full dedicated character represented from those games, because I mean the thing is with those games, like they only go so far in terms of the characters that they introduce, unlike the Mario RPGs, but they still have like music tracks that are remixed, or like or characters like appear, or like they get costumes, like in Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. There were like a few masks based on characters like from like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and Kirby Canvas Curse. So it's like, I feel like there are examples of franchises that represent things like this better.
And the Mario franchise, once upon a time, like we were talking about earlier, has done it. Even Mario Kart Super Circuit has Bowser's Castle from Paper Mario on Rainbow Road. And I always think to myself, oh my god, it is so inevitable whenever that track returns that they are going to erase that, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah, I just hope not. I'm just hoping for the best, honestly. But another thing, kind of going into the things we've talked about for like certain fan bases for these spin-offs having a very dedicated community, like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I feel like the Mario RPGs are some of the most highly praised Mario games. Like, the Thousand Year Door remake has an 88 on Metacritic, and I think, like, the original Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story are in the low 90s, I believe. I mean, obviously, I would have loved it they were higher, but, like, that kind of shows that in, like, the gaming industry as a whole, and especially in the Mario franchise, these games are respected. I even see Thousand Year Door in Bowser's Inside Story, or even, like, Superstar Saga, on, like, towards the top of, like, the best Mario games list. Thousand Year Door was even in the top 10 of IGN's recent, like, best Mario games thing. I wish Bowser's Inside Story would have topped that list too, but, like, it's, like, I feel like it's clear that these games are definitely up there with the mainline games, and Mario Kart as some of Mario's most highly praised games. I would say, like, we really don't see any other Mario spin-offs outside of Mario Kart in the Mario RPGs that are praised at this level. Like, Mario Party, while I really enjoy that series, Jamboree was excellent, I feel like it's still a party game, and it really, like, it feels like that series is very inconsistent, because it's party games, like, are, even though they appeal to a lot of people, I feel like they're not for everyone. Like, I feel like there are some people who, it does, like, I know a lot of Mario fans that aren't super huge fans of the Mario Party games. And then there's also the Mario sports games. And I don't even have to...
I think a lot of that is, like, people who don't have anyone to play with.
Oh, yeah,
like, that's the main reason I never played that much Mario Party as a kid, because I never had anyone to play it with. I would play, like, Mario Party 8, I would play, like, the boards by myself. I did each one, like, once, but, like, there wasn't much reason for me to just keep playing that religiously, because I didn't have anyone to play it with.
Yeah. And I would say, with the Mario sports games, too, I don't even have to explain that not many people care about these games that much. It's kind of unfortunate in some cases, like I would say with either Mario Baseball or even, like, ones like Mario Golf World Tour, I feel like some of those games are excellent, and it's unfortunate that not a lot of people care about them, but looking at the Switch era ones, I can kind of understand why not too many people care about them too much. But with the Mario RPGs, you see, like, a lot of, like, fan communities form behind them. You see these games scoring really well on either Metacritic or by different gaming journalist sites and things. You see these games talked about for decades. Super Mario RPG, even before the remake happened, like, there were still a ton of people who were fans of Geno and even Mallow, and, like, brought up, like, Super Mario RPG quite a lot. And Super Mario RPG, I feel like I could have a whole discussion on its own about how that game is significant in a lot of ways, because, like, I feel like that game is...
There's a reason Geno has been, like, a highly requested character for Smash Brothers for basically since the series inception, I'm pretty sure.
And
like,
yeah, and I would say even going back to, like, the point of, like, Nintendo's inconsistent representation of the Mario RPGs in some ways. Surprisingly, Nintendo does take some hints from Super Mario RPG sometimes. Like how Peach sometimes uses, like, the, uses, like, a parasol or a frying pan as a weapon. Like, actually, the frying pan is in Smash Bros, and the parasol, that started in Super Mario RPG. So, and also the fact that, like, Mario characters can have more characterization in general. I mean, I guess that could be traced back even to, like, the old, old movies and the Deke Mario cartoons, but, like, seeing that in the games, really, that characterization really started in Super Mario RPG. For, like, I feel like this game is very significant in a lot of ways. So, like, I definitely feel like this game has, like, a pretty strong legacy to it, not just in the fan base, but, like, also in the franchise itself.
I wonder if, like, Super Mario RPG and how the way its original characters kind of had copyright tie-ups with Square, I wonder if that indirectly caused there to just be an unspoken and just kind of mutually understood idea within Nintendo that characters introduced in Mario RPGs stay in Mario RPGs, even if the later ones didn't have any such actual
Issues with copyright.
restrictions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was maybe like, because to be fair, the characters from Super Mario RPG did continue to be some of the most popular ones. Like I feel like the only characters that have matched up to Geno in terms of popularity have been Fawful and Vivian and maybe Dimentio.
Yeah.
And like I feel as though I don't know. I wonder if that did lead to some sort of internal idea at Nintendo that because we can't use these characters from the first one, let's just kind of have a mutual understanding that we don't even acknowledge, we don't even speak it, we just kind of subconsciously think it. Leave everything in the Mario RPGs in the Mario RPGs.
I'm not sure, because, like, I mean, there might have been some of that, but in the 2000s, like we were saying earlier, there was, like, a decent amount of representation, from, like, the original Paper Mario.
They dipped their toes into it, and that's what makes me so, like, I don't know. Because it's just...
Yeah, and I wish
to me, some of it feels obvious. To me, some of these potential inclusions seem kind of obvious to me. Like, I don't know, Mario Kart Double Dash... I mean, Mario Kart Double Dash did come out on the same day as Superstar Saga, at least in North America. So I could probably kind of see why the timing wouldn't quite line up, but it would be cool. It would have made a great cross promotion if Cackletta and Fawful was a duo in Mario Kart Double Dash.
Oh yeah, that would have been really cool. But I feel like just another thing about the fact that these games are, like, highly praised and have communities around them, I feel like a lot of players, like, not even just fans, but, like, any casual player who, like, plays, like, one of these recent Mario RPGs, like the Thousand Year Door remake, Super Mario RPG, or Mario & Luigi Brothership, can form an attachment with some of these characters, because they're written really well, especially ones like Vivian, or Geno. I mean, I guess Geno isn't, like, he's just kind of aura farming, but, like, I could see why he's popular, but, like, a lot of these characters are very, like, popular and can resonate with a lot of people, so I just think that's
exactly why. That's what happened with me. That's why I went so hard on the why don't they use these characters train, because, like, almost every Mario RPG that I play that's full of original characters, I come out of it with a strong attachment. Like, Super Paper Mario's ending, like with that music and everything, and the way everyone's saying farewell, and it's like, it's almost like, oh, looking towards a new, brighter future, and really emotional music. It was so powerful, and it's like, what do you mean this stuff just gets left behind and is just kind of never heard about, never acknowledged again? What do you mean?
Like, yeah, so it's like, I feel like that kind of goes into my next point with the fact that the stuff that the Mario RPGs introduced, and also the legacy of these games in general, really doesn't deserve the fade into obscurity. I feel like the best way for these games to be appreciated by many people, like, and many fans, or also newer fans in the coming years and just into the future, is the fact for Nintendo to acknowledge them more. Like, I feel like someone in the year 2050 should, like, be able to look back on this vast history of the Mario RPGs, like, in a way, where they can kind of, like, discover it. Because I feel like in the direction that Nintendo kind of goes sometimes, it's almost like they enable these games being completely forgotten, which is just really unfortunate. These are amazing games, like, especially, like, the original 3 Paper Mario games, the Mario & Luigi series, Super Mario RPG, and even Origami King to a degree. I feel like there's a lot of great games in this franchise that don't, like, deserve to fade into obscurity here, and I really hope Nintendo can acknowledge them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's just I, it'll never make sense to me the way they segregate the Mario franchise like this. Because when the RPGs are all written from like they use the mainline depiction of the Mario world as a starting point when writing all of these games. Even the craziest ones like Super Paper Mario, it still starts out in a familiar Mushroom Kingdom setting. It has
Yeah,
a believable bridge into the new stuff,
literally a
and it
generic
kind of
Toad.
establishes that this
Literally
that
a
it
generic Toad
literally
starts the story
establishes
off.
yeah, yeah, like it establishes that establishes exactly where, well, not like you don't really have a map or anything to like pinpoint where Super Paper Mario settings are in relation to the Mushroom Kingdom, but it's like far, far away, another dimension. But like you like it establishes that these dimensions are a thing that exists and are accessible from the Mushroom Kingdom, so it still ties it together. And it's like, and with Brothership also, the intro shows Mario and Luigi in the Mushroom Kingdom before getting transported to Concordia.
Yeah,
And like the RPGs go out of their way to set themselves within the official Nintendo approved depiction of the Mario series, and yet those other games that they try so hard to base their premises on and build off of refuse to give them the same acknowledgement.
yeah. And I do have like a little hope for things that kind of change in the better and stop being in this like really weird, inconsistent area of Nintendo like not deciding whether they care about the Mario RPGs or not. Because at the very least, we are seeing like some acknowledgement, at least, of these games in more respectful ways lately. Like, at least with the Thousand Year Door, how it was treated on Nintendo Music, with both versions being separate, rather than being lumped together like a lot of other games. And the original characters getting playlist was definitely a very promising way of kind of respecting the legacy of that game. And I hope we see more of that in other ways, like outside of Nintendo Music. Like, I hope like we see more like acknowledgement, like posts of like the anniversaries or just different things, different like little things from Nintendo about like the Mario RPGs every once in a while, not just when they're promoting a specific game. But
I noticed they this is probably like the only time in the modern era that a mainline or mainline adjacent game acknowledges the RPGs is when with Super Mario Run they have these little promotions
yeah,
that promoted both Brothership and Thousand Year Door remake, and like it.
and it highlights the original characters from both games.
Oh, it's PNGs. It's PNGs of the characters, but like it makes me think, oh man, imagine if it was Mario Kart Tour doing this and
Honestly,
it was characters.
I would say Super Mario Run is actually that's great that you bring that up, because that's a great example of like respecting the legacy of the Mario franchise, even though it's an insignificant way, because I mean, like inherently that's how things are kind of acknowledged in that game, because it's like you're building up the little Mushroom Kingdom area in the game.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, the new like literal new Super Mario Bros depiction of the Mushroom Kingdom, so it's really funny seeing all those characters in there. But like the fact that like literally every Mario game releasing, and Donkey Kong game with like Donkey Kong Bonanza as well, like all of these characters are getting like statues, like these original characters, like the fact that they're like kind of getting like they're literally putting them like on like a little pedestal in the game, like they're literally getting a little acknowledgement in the game. Like I mean, like why can't they do that everywhere else? Like why like have some of the characters from these games
Like,
be playable as promotion, like have like
I don't
tracks
understand.
based on these
Yeah.
locations.
It's just kind of like it kind of bums me out just because like that's the game that they choose to allow those references to be in. The game where it's never going to be anything more than a PNG.
Yeah, and it's so ironic too, because Super Mario Run seems like the least likely game they would ever do that for. Because like that's like the only active game right now that still uses a style that would like that new Super Mario Bros. Style, and they're actually referencing the RPGs in that game. It's so funny, honestly.
And another game, all this. I couldn't really say that this is a direct or intentional reference, but technically, because of the NSO icons, it is possible to depict RPG characters within Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think there's a few other games that allow you to do that too. But yeah, Mario Odyssey is one of the like Mario games that lets you do. Actually, I think does Mario Kart World have any way of like showcasing your icon? I thought there was like one. Oh, it's under.
I feel like
I might be thinking of Air Riders, but I thought there was like some kind of way of showing that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mario Kart World only lets you show like the stickers you've collected. I wish they would let me use my profile icon as an emblem. That like imagine driving around with Vivian on your cart.
Yeah. Actually,
like,
yeah, being able to put it on your cart, that would be incredible. But it would also allow for some like really funny like things as well. Like imagine Miles McKenzie from Metroid Prime 4 stamped on your cart. Like that would just be ridiculous.
I mean, you could if you could do it in Mario Odyssey with Luigi's balloon.
Yeah.
So like, speaking of Luigi's Balloon World, I remember that I had so much fun with that for like a couple days.
Yeah.
I went so hard hiding, trying to figure out the best place to hide it. That was so fun for the couple of days it was fun.
Before people started like cheesing it and like hit it in like impossible speedrunning locations.
And like it just and then it just became like there was not really any more that were like either they were trivial or impossible.
Yeah, and the trivial ones really aren't worth it either because you don't really get that many coins from it. But finally, I wanted to say I do have like a little bit of hope that like representation can get better like sometime in the future, because I feel like Nintendo is slowly being more open to like mainline games, because it seemed like before they barely did anything outside of like what you would expect. Like the only like mainline representation we got before was like 3D World or the new Super Mario Bros. Games, a tiny hint of Galaxy, or the remaining stuff from Sunshine that was kind of left. But like now it seems like we're getting a lot of representation from Wonder, like on the degree of representation that we got of Sunshine back during the GameCube era. So it seems like they're highlighting the Talking Flower as like a more kind of like staple of the franchise. So I'm hoping that they are gonna slowly be more open-minded about other games. Like just start here and then go forward, like adding more characters from like different connected series and spin-offs, like either like King K. Rool from Donkey Kong, the characters from Luigi's Mansion, the WarioWare characters, and of course the Mario RPGs. So I feel like I'm just hoping that Nintendo will be more open-minded, like since they are dabbling more into like the more interesting side of mainline. I'm thinking like that's like I'm hoping that's like the gateway drug of like the extended Mario franchise.
Yeah, speaking of, you mentioned Luigi's Mansion, it just reminded me just how crazy insane it is that we still have yet to get a playable EGAD.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate like, that he got shafted from DS.
He was so prominent. He was so prominent in the GameCube era, but he never became playable.
Yeah, I feel like the discussion with the Mario RPGs could really be applied to like most of the extended Mario franchise, because there's a lot of characters that really deserve to be in other games. I think like both EGAD and King K. Rool are two pretty big examples of that. So I'm really hoping that those characters are.
And I also hope, now this is technically still more mainline, but like I still really hope that Toadsworth can come back. I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss that guy.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Why do they erase him? Why? Why?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Especially in this era of Mario, but like... Anyways, I kind of want to wrap things up, but it's just kind of weird how...
One thing I wanted
Okay.
to say, I just kind of wanted to throw this in at the end, because I thought of this, like, all the way at the beginning of the video when you were mentioning Sky and Sea from Mario Sunshine. I just wanted to just kind of throw it out there real quick that I have a very vivid memory of a YTPMV video with Patrick. It was called Patrick Rides the Sandbird. I cannot find it. It's lost media. If anyone can find it,
Yeah,
I would
let us
love
know down in the
to find that
comments.
again.
That's funny, because like I have like
bugging at my head.
I have a lot of like random like lost media stuff that I think about sometimes. Like there's like a mod for Mario Kart Wii that adds like all of the Xenoblade 1 party members, and I've been looking for that for years. But but anyways, I think like it's kind of weird how the Mario RPGs have such a complicated relationship with Nintendo, and I really hope they are represented more and their legacy is more respected in the future. But anyways, let us know what you think down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to Fawful the Great. And thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!